The only thing that I know about this interview, or maybe from the View appearance, honestly, I don't know which one it's from, is that Joe Biden said that he would have won against Trump, even though Kamala Harris didn't.
We just marked last week Trump's 100th day in office. And for some of us, it's felt like 100 years.
Maybe you could be the next.
I actually don't think I can watch this. That just made me really angry. Here, you know what? I'll settle for the clip in the View. After that, we'll just do the interview. I'm not watching that.
Mr. President, since you left office, there have been a number of books that have come out, deeply sourced from Democratic sources, that claim in your final year there was a dramatic decline in your cognitive abilities. In the final year of your presidency, what is your response to these allegations, or are these sources wrong?
They are wrong. There's nothing to sustain that, number one. Number two, you know, think of what we're left with. We're left with a circumstance where we had an insurrection when I started, not since the Civil War. We had a circumstance where we were in a position that the pandemic, because of the incompetence of the last outfit, end up over 1 million people dying, 1 million people dying. And we're also in a situation where we found ourselves unable to deal with a lot of just basic issues, and which I won't go into in interest of time. And so we went to work.
He's beating the allegations.
And you know, one of the things that well, and
Alyssa, you know what?
Jesus Christ.
One of the things I think is that
Thank you for rescuing him, by the way.
the people who wrote those books were not in the White House with us.
Yes, they were. They were. There were like tons of aides, people who visited the White House constantly because they were meant to speak with Joe Biden but couldn't. What? I'm not watching the View bit. Give me the interview. I can't watch the View bit.
I've been looking back at a speech you made a year ago at Normandy for the 80th anniversary of D-Day.
Knew what was at stake. They knew that.
Well, I'm just realizing I don't give a shit about this, man. I'm sorry, I can't keep up like the artifice. It's very on brand for Joe Biden to suffer a brain melt, drop out, get really angry about it. His replacement loses. He says nothing for months while the country undergoes the most aggressive, rapid transformation to fascism ever experienced by a huge margin. He says nothing. This whole time he's just dead silent. And then he comes back to wax eloquent about bullshit he wasn't there for and did nothing about. Just look up clips. Can I just put the clip of him saying that he would have won when Kamala Harris didn't in the bag, please? Like, unironically, I can't handle this shit, man. It's the rot. It's everything that was wrong with him to begin with.
But then election night came, and it was like 2016 all over again. Yeah. So why do you think the vice president lost, and were you surprised?
I wasn't surprised, not because I didn't think the vice president was the most qualified person to be president. She is. She's qualified to be president of the United States of America. Right. But I was surprised. I wasn't surprised because they went the route of the sexist route, the whole route. I mean, this is a woman. She's this. She's that. I mean, it really. I've never seen quite as successful and a consistent campaign undercutting the notion that a woman couldn't lead the country, and a woman of mixed race.
Yeah.
And they played that to a fairly well. In addition to that, one of the things happened, if you notice, and I'm going to be shorter, okay? I promise. Okay. She said, "Don't be Joe Biden. Be short."
I said that to him.
Anyway, make a long story short, all kidding aside, think about it. Liberal democracies all across America, all across the world lost last time.
Yeah.
All across America.
I hope Trump destroys the Democratic Party. Yep, it'll be the best thing he's ever done if he succeeds in doing so, but we're not quite there yet. All of the worst elements of the Democratic Party are still there, and they're just waiting for the opportunity to rear their heads, you know? They want to come back and say, hey, we'll be competent managers of capital. We'll be, you know, adequate technocratic facilitators of government power, will undo 10% of what Trump has done and marginally improve things, you know, relative to how they might have been otherwise. Like, don't worry, the general decline will continue, but we'll have some means-tested programs. We won't fundamentally change anything, and we'll continue to blame all of this on Trump, even though he's clearly just as water-brained as Joe Biden is, and it was obviously the entire administration who was complicit to the behavior.
I think we underestimate the phenomenal negative impact that COVID had and the pandemic had on people, on attitudes, on optimism, on a whole range of things. So I was very disappointed, and but I wasn't surprised. The only thing that surprised me is the excess to which they've gone in some of the attacks they've made.
Yeah. Well, when was the last time you spoke with the vice president, and has she talked to you about what she wants to do next? Sought any advice? Maybe governor?
Yesterday, I talk to her frequently. We stay in touch.
Isn't it confirmed that Kamala Harris is going to be running for governor? I saw somebody post a screenshot of a bunch of recently grabbed domain names. Harris governor, or Kamala CA governor, California governor Kamala, like that sort of thing, you know, like 500. I would prefer her run for governor to her running for the presidency.
Number one.
Not at all. They're furious. It's just Democratic politicians that are like this. My liberal mother and brother is saying shit I'd never say in public. The median liberal right now is saying shit that gets the median leftist looking around nervously and checking to see if they have like an Alexa device in their house. Unironically. The median liberals saying shit that's got you thinking, man, phones are always recording, right? And then you look at their politicians and they're like this. So, I mean, the disconnect has never been greater. There's a reason why the Democratic congressional approval rating is so low. But like the Democrats need to experience an ego death in order to rise from the ashes of this party. And I really, really mean that. There needs to be some kind of collective awakening. Because right now, the two most popular Democratic presidential candidates are AOC, she's earning it, and Kamala Harris. But I need the people answering this to understand. Kamala Harris is Chuck Schumer, is Joe Biden, is Hakeem Jeffries. They're all exactly the same guy. I really think that a lot of them are just more charitable to Kamala Harris because she's younger and a black woman, which admittedly in this era especially comes across, I think, at least superficially as a departure from the status quo. But that's the smoke that's the smoke, right? Those the smoke and mirrors. They did the same shit with Obama, right? It's the same guy. And Obama, by the way, is the same guy. How much has he said since the second Trump regime? You know, Obama actually has the clout that he could be a major cultural figure if he wanted to. Like, I mean, he is, but like beyond that, I mean. Yeah, he's posting his Spotify. Every holiday he posts like a photo of him and Michelle, you know, in a, I don't know, it's Christmas, here's us in a Santa hat or whatever. But he could be like genuine, like / the resistance type material if he was more aggressive about it. But he's not, because he doesn't want to be, because he already won. Obama kicks his feet up at the end of every day, smugly confident in the knowledge that history will remember him as a better president than the people who came before or after. And he's correct, and that's all he wanted. It's all ego to him. That's the only thing he cared about. Speaking of ego, like Joe Biden, no daylight, kid.
What possible reason is that? How is he saving money? People paid to get into these programs.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, I just find
To
it.
be mean, just to be cruel.
Well, all kidding aside, I don't quite get the anyway, I can be short.
I can be short.
Well,
No, you're criticizing Trump. You can go on.
Go ahead, Joy.
Yeah. So I've noticed that Trump can't stop talking about it. He's obsessed with you. As of late April, he had
I
mentioned...
like how boomer libs still think this does anything. Like they're being led into the camps. They're being put on train cars and they're like, bro, he's so upset. Did you know that Trump is like petty and vindictive and mocks people even when they're no longer like around? Wow, that's crazy. What a unique observation. Really?
you and your family and your administration at least 580 times. We're talking shrink land now, because, you know, when you're obsessed with somebody, you have to look in yourself and say, what is going on here? And at his Trump's cabinet meeting last week, your name was invoked 52 times, and he blamed you for the economic mess that his tariffs are causing. Why is he so fixated on you and blaming you for everything?
I'm confused why you would expect incisive political analysis from The View, because The View isn't a neutral organization, right? The View is a wing of the Democratic Party. But unfortunately, unlike something like Fox News or Fox 5 or whatever, where they have a panel that exists to elevate the Republicans, they're good at it. The View drags you down by subjecting you to a astroturfed version of the same consultancy bias that they get in their boardroom meetings, right?
I'd beat him.
That's great.
And that's it. He's just
I'm
ticked
used to
off.
dealing with bullies.
Well, Mr. President, when you announced that you wouldn't be seeking re-election, only 28% of the country thought that the country was on the right track. Now, you are understandably very proud of many achievements in your administration, but do you take any responsibility for not hearing the concerns of voters on the border security or cost of living sooner? And do you take any responsibility for Trump's re-election?
Yes, I do, because, look, I was in charge and he won. So, you know, I take responsibility, number one. But number two, you know, you remember we put together a commission leading with one of the most conservative members of the United States Senate from Oklahoma running it. We came up with a significant means by which we could deal with the border. What did Trump do? He got on the telephone and he called Republicans, do not support it. It's legal.
This almost feels like it exists exclusively to be run on repeat on Fox News for the next 4 years so conservatives can froth at the mouth over it. When I looked up Joe Biden, The View on YouTube, I think the third result was from, what's her name? Kelly? The one of the more ghoulish Fox News blondes, the fake Catholic. Megyn Kelly, thank you.
It'll work. It'll make Biden look good. Don't do it. And they backed off.
Can't someone be impeached for something like that?
Well, secondly,
Jesus Christ. It's important to go over stuff like this because we need to know, we need to internalize the fact that, like, the real work that we need to do is bringing people who watch The View over to hating The View. Because the average Republican right now is not that susceptible to reality in general. You know, they're not in a place where they can be swayed very easily. But a well-organized Democratic Party has the ability to sweep the country soon. Even if the Republicans start arresting people and imposing limitations on voting and so on and so forth, which they will, and they already have been, even with all of that, the Democrats still have the potential to sweep. But we get to decide, or at least we get to have influence over it, right? Will the Democratic Party of the future be somewhat well-organized and susceptible to the interests of the population? Will they be well-informed, or will they be this consultant-brained nonsense? And I just think it's important to hate them, you know? We have to hate them so much.
Secondly, look, what we didn't have a chance to do, and I've been advised not to say this, but I'm going to say it anyway. No one thought I could get past an over $1 trillion plan to rebuild the country. Well, we made a lot of commitments, and we, you know, $1 billion tunnels going through for Amtrak, bridges, so on. But we weren't quite as good as he was about advertising. There's nothing to say Biden brought you this.
Yeah.
There's nothing saying the Democrats brought you this. And we knew none of this would occur.
There's actually truth in that, yeah. It's very important to be at least as dogmatic as your opposition.
For another 6 months to 2 years. It takes time to do all that. I mean, for example, we invented the computer chip. It's a multi-trillion-dollar future. But guess what? Because it was cheaper to get cheaper labor, they sent it overseas. brought the product back home, we lost control. And what happened? We found out we didn't have the sources to do it anymore. So when I got in the plane, I went to South Korea, I went all through Asia, and I got them all to come back and invest several $1 trillion in investments to rebuild these facilities here and us take control of this. That's why, there's multiple parts to make a car. You need all these. And so, but none of it would take place immediately. The same way with, for example, I don't know what last thing I'll say, but one of the things I'm proudest of working for is changing the way in which drug companies can charge you for prescriptions.
Yes.
It's a fundamental change. It's changing people's lives.
And out of curiosity, how did that work out with regard to like the lower prices for certain pharmaceutical medications? The ones that you dated back to begin after your presidency ended? How'd that one work out? Just keep the hate in your heart. It's more important and more efficacious to hate the Democrats than the Republicans, because the Republicans respond to your hate in equal kind, and the Democrats respond to your hate by going, what did we do? What did we do? We proposed like a 0.2% Pell Grant means-tested tax rebate for the, third child that you have in your family if you have Somali heritage. I don't understand why you're mad at me. What did I do? There's a more engaged dynamic. Yeah, the Dems definitely act a lot more entitled for your vote.